Hey y'all, it's Bailey with Reclaim Grace, and I'm so happy you clicked on this video. I hope y'all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. In today's video, it's kind of a trash to treasure, I guess we can call it. Every project we're working on could definitely be considered trash, in my opinion. And we're definitely, in my opinion, turning them into treasures. I struggled with one project, you'll see, but we overcame the struggles and we succeeded when it counted. I hope y'all enjoyed today's projects. We're going to get started right now. Our first makeover today is this dresser. I picked this piece up from Salvation Army for $15. It's been sitting in my workshop for a little while, so it's dusty. Whenever I bought it, this top popped off, and you can see there's a piece of wood missing in that back section of the top of the dresser. So we're going to fix that. There's a cute shot of Roscoe. I have this piece of scrap wood that is the same thickness. This is just something that's been in my stash for a while. I have cut it down to fit this area back here. So that is the first repair we are going to make. I'm going to use some Titebond Quick and Thick. I'm going to apply a glue to all the areas and then put this piece up there, making sure the ends are somewhat aligned on one side and we can sand the other side flush. I'm going to shoot some brad nails in this the horizontal way first, and then I'm going to shoot some the vertical way, just to make sure that glue is going to make good contact, because that is what's really going to hold this piece on long term. Now you can still see there is a crack that the wood piece didn't feel. So we're going to shove that, we're going to fix that with some Bondo. This is a two-part component. It comes with the cream and then the hardener. You just really need that a pea-sized amount of the hardener. You just mix these two together until they're one solid color, and you got to work fast. Once you put that hardener in, this stuff dries within minutes, like 2 minutes. It becomes unworkable. So you got to work fast. This does not need to look pretty, just get the crack filled. I'm going to go all the way down that seam and we're going to let that dry. As that is drying, I'm going to jump over to my dresser drawers and I'm going to remove the hardware. I'm going to be reusing this hardware just because I didn't have time to order any and go that route. And I feel like the hardware is a good fit for the dresser. So now let's get these drawers scuff sanded. I'm not trying to go down to bare wood, just a light scuff sand to just create that micro texture we need is good enough. I think I'm using a 180 grit sandpaper. Then I like to take a little dusting brush and clean out my drawers. And as I was doing that, you seen I just found something in the drawer. I was like, what is that? I picked it up and y'all, look at this. It's a mushroom. Isn't that the coolest thing? I'm going to keep this. I thought that was so cool. Y'all know I'm obsessed with mushrooms. So now let's get this Bondo sanded. It's probably been like 15 minutes. This is rock hard now. So I'm using a 120 grit sandpaper. I am masked up. I have my door open to my workshop. And we're going to get all this sanded flush. And just really gnawing it down until it feels smooth to my hands. And if you need to come in now and do a second coat of Bondo, that is not unusual. It's fine to do several layers, but I piled mine up enough that I didn't need to come in with a second layer this time. I'm going to change my sandpaper back to a 180 grit and sand the rest of this piece. And then I just gave everything a really good wipe down. It had already been cleaned one time, so this wipe down was just dusting the piece off. And now we're coming in with our shellac. This piece of furniture had some really heavy red tones, and I just didn't want to gamble with it. So I want to prime this piece with 3 coats of shellac. I'm starting off with my drawers, and then I'm going to move over to the piece of furniture itself, making sure I go over that raw wood area a couple times to seal in any raw wood and that Bondo. This is just like putting a nice hard candy coating over the piece. As that Bondo is drying, I'm going to mix up some milk paint. I'm using a little empty container of some caramel dip. I have been obsessed with apples and caramel lately. I just get hyper fixed on things. Either way, we're mixing up Basil by Sweet Pickins Milk Paint. I'm not mixing any other colors with it, just straight basil. And I'm going to add some water to this powder, and I'm going to mix it for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to let it sit to the side and let it thicken for about 15 minutes. And then now we're going to start painting our dresser. I think this color is like a really, really good green for this time of year. It goes very well with all my Christmas decor in my booth. It's just a really good Christmas green, and it's just a very green, dark green color. It dries a lot darker than it looks right now. Have y'all used basil before by itself? Y'all let me know down in the comments. But I did do 2 coats on this piece, and that was really good coverage, the 2 coats. I did mix my paint mixture a little thicker than usual, and that helped with the coverage as well. As I am painting this dresser, I want to say thank you to everyone who shopped with me last week. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving and got some good Black Friday deals. Y'all really showed up and showed out and supported my website for Black Friday. So thank y'all so very much, and I hope y'all enjoy y'all's orders. So here we are after 2 coats of paint are on, and I go down here and I'm like, just getting ahead of myself, right? I give Roscoe a little kiss, and I'm about to start waxing this thing. And I was like, Bailey, you have not sanded this piece, like you wanted it distressed. So I put up my wax, grabbed a 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to sand this piece very well. I'm going to go over all of the surfaces, but I'm going to distress some of the edges and high points and just here and there on the piece. Especially using milk paint, you can get a buttery smooth paint job as long as you sand it afterwards with a 220 grit sandpaper. These dresser drawers had a lot of good detail, and I want to bring that out by distressing them some. After sanding, I dusted off the piece very, very well, and now I'm going to come in and seal up this milk paint, and I'm just going to be using Fusion's Agent Wax. It is one of my favorite sealers of wax over milk paint. It just really, really deepens and brings out that color beautifully. And it's going to sit in all the little dings and details of this furniture piece. I love recreating aged pieces, and this is just perfect for me. I'm just applying it on with a little chip brush, and then I will just wipe off any excess wax with a blue shop towel. If you want to take your furniture projects to the next level, this is an important step, in my opinion. I am going to use some Howard's Feed and Wax on the raw wood areas of my drawers. Y'all, this is an important step if you asked me. It kind of seals up that raw wood area. It gives that wood a nice drink and refreshes the color. It gets rid of like the dustiness of sanding and all the stuff, just age a piece sitting in storage. and it works really, really well for getting your dresser drawers to glide in and out. I do this on every single dresser I upcycle, or I mean makeover. I apply this Howard's Feed and Wax on the drawer guides inside of the dresser. This helps tremendously with sticking drawers. And it has a really, really good smell to it, and it just makes your piece smell like oranges. It's just great. It's cheap. Y'all check it out. I was in a rush to get this piece finished. I had an empty hole in my booth. It was the day before our huge Christmas open house, and I was able to get this piece done in 24 hours, y'all. So I think it is a heck of an upgrade. I love how it came out. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this one. I am loving that basil color with that fusion agent wax. This piece does have casters on it as well. I priced it for $250. Our next project, we're starting off with some thrifted bottle brush trees. I found this set at Salvation Army, and I have seen they were in bad shape. They were all squished and all that. So I have seen many people do this technique to get the bristles of the bottle brush tree back into shape. I am just soaking them in some hot water here, and you can see the dye of the tree is coming out, but that's fine. It's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. I'm just dipping it in some hot water. I'm going to kind of shake off any excess water and put it to the side and let it dry. And here's how we're looking once they are dried. You can see I have a lot of bristles that are not where they need to be. So I want to come in and give our trees a major haircut. Just going with the flow of the tree here. I was just trying my best, y'all, to save these from the trash, because that's exactly where they were going if I did not pick them up, honestly. I mean, if y'all don't agree, y'all let me know. But we're going to clean these up some. This is how it was looking. That's how I got it after I gave it a haircut. These pieces were really bad. So now we're going to create a little spindle forest, I guess you can call it. So I'm cutting up some bed rails that I've had in my stash for a while to different shapes and sizes that we can put our bottle brush trees in. I want these to be staggered in height, so I'm just grabbing different pieces from my stash and cutting enough for my bottle brush trees. And here are the pieces I cut down. Some of them have holes in them, but you know what? That's just character at this point. I'm going to give them a good sand to get rid of any splinters, and then give them a good clean before coming in and priming them with 2 layers of shellac. I'm going to be adding milk paint to our wooden spindles, and I thought the perfect color was going to be a flour sack. So I'm going to do 2 heaping spoonfuls of flour sack with just 2 light spoonfuls of water. I want to create a very thick mixture here. But before we come in to paint, I'm going to add some wax to our spindles. This is the beeswax bar that I have available on my website. It's just going to make it where the paint does not stick to the wood. This was very dry wood, so I didn't know if the shellac would be enough. So I'm just wiping this on randomly. So here's our paint mixture. You can see how thick that is. Like, I've let it sit up for about 15 minutes. And we're going to start painting these bad boys. I'm just doing 1 coat on these, and I'm applying the coat pretty thick. This is going to create a lot of age and character and crackle, and it's going to be very cool looking. So we're going to get all these spindles painted. I do paint inside that little hole on one of them, and another one that has that same hole I didn't paint the inside of. And once we get our thick layer of paint on, I'm going to immediately come in with my heat gun and force dry that paint. And this is going to create that gorgeous crackle and chippiness that we love. So here is how we're looking. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So now let's sand these down very well. I think I'm using like a 220 or 180 grit sandpaper here just by hand. I'm going to sand all the surfaces, but I'm going to definitely sand the edges where we applied the wax. The paint's going to come right off because it wasn't able to adhere, and we're going to get these babies distressed. Next, we need to seal up that milk paint. So I'm going to use my Sweet Pickins Dark Oil Wax. This is another favorite of mine to seal over milk paint. I haven't ever tried the other oil waxes, but this dark is just everything. So maybe I'll try the black soon. But I'm just wiping this on, with a chip brush, and then I'm going to move on to the next one. And by the time I get all these coated, it's probably a few minutes. I'm going to come in with a blue shop towel and wipe off any excess oil. Be careful not to leave your fingerprints on these. So I'm using one towel to hold the piece and one towel to wipe off the oil. Then I'm going to let these dry for about 30 minutes. I have grabbed my drill gun here with the appropriate size drill bit, and I'm going to start drilling holes in the center of my spindles so we can put our bottle brush trees in these. I know this is not an original idea, trust me, but I'm just trying to save these bottle brush trees and get some last minute Christmas decorations in my booth to resell. And I figured if these didn't sell for Christmas, they would be great winter decor with the colors we're using. So I'm just using a small amount of hot glue on the metal stem of the bottle brush tree, and that's going to go right into the hole, and I'm just going to hold it for a few seconds until that glue dries. Our last step was just to add a little bit of detail. I picked up this taupe color crushed velvet ribbon on Amazon last week, and I figured this would be a good winter color. So I'm cutting that ribbon down some so it's not as wide, and I'm just going to tie it on our little spindles in different sections and in different ways to just get these dolled up just a touch. And that is it for this project. I think we definitely saved these pieces. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I love the color of the bottle brush tree with that chippy white paint. I plan on selling these between $7 and $17 a piece. Y'all let me know what y'all think about these. Our last project, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This one, y'all will see. We're starting off with this brass oval frame. This used to come with that dome glass, but it was missing when I thrifted this piece. We don't end up using this frame, so I'm going to pretty much fly through this part, but I want y'all to see the fails. I failed this project 3 times before I got it right. I got it right on the 4th time. So it just happens that way. You have seen I've cut down a piece of foam that I plan on putting in the center of this brass frame. Now I'm cutting some slits into the foam with my X-Acto knife. The point of this is to be a ring holder, like a jewelry ring holder. I'm attaching this foam with some hot glue to that back panel, and I'm testing it out here. It's looking good. I think I'm on to something, so I'm going to use my spray, what is that called? Fabric spray adhesive on the back of my foam, and I'm going to add my green velvet fabric, and now I'm going to cut the slits into the fabric. Well, note, I don't know where my slits are under that fabric, so I'm like just winging it here. But I do eventually get it cut, and I'm like, this looks like shit. Like, you can see the foam under, like, you can see the crack, and it's exposing the foam. So I was like, that's not right. That's not how my inspiration picture looked. So let's retry it. I thought I was going to be able to salvage this piece of fabric and foam, but no, I just got rid of that, and I cut a new piece of foam. So this is foam number 2. I'm recutting those slits again, and my thought process was I got to fill the slits with fabric before I cover the whole piece of foam with fabric. So I'm like trying to figure this out, but then I was like, no, because then you're going to be able to see where I'm doing that. And okay, so here we are. I scrapped that. This is foam number 3. I have my ruler out here, and I'm trying to divide this piece of foam into equal sections. So I'm just making my marks, and I'm going to draw a straight as possible line across here, and I'm going to cut that line out. I did label these like 1 through whatever, so I know where they go and I can keep them in order, making sure everything lines back up on that backer piece. I've got some more fabric out here that I'm cutting to fit to cover these pieces. So just enough fabric to cover these foam pieces, and I'm setting that to the side. I've grabbed out some staples and my staple gun, and we are going to staple the green fabric onto the backer board, put our piece of foam down, and then wrap the fabric around the foam, and then staple the fabric to the backer board. And we're going to do that all the way down until we get to our last piece. To say I was frustrated with this project was an understatement. My mama had to talk me off the ledge many times. I was about to throw it in the trash, but I did not give up. I had this inspiration. I couldn't get it out of my head, so I just kept going, y'all, and it ended up working out. So here I have all my foam attached, and I'm trying to put it back in the metal frame. Now, this backer piece is held in with 3 nails, and I was able to get the nails back into the, in through the frame into the backer piece, but the backer piece was made out of chipboard, so it was very weak. So as I'm working on my second nail, the first nail busts out. So I'm like, I need to use screws. Either way, it did not work out. I found another frame. I said, we're going to do this project one way or another, and I'm going to show my YouTube family to not give up. This is a lesson for everyone. So here is a wooden oval frame. The important part is it's wood, okay? So we're going to get this frame clean, prepped, all that. This is just a piece of something from another frame that I'm going to use for this frame. And I'm going to make an outline here and cut that out so it can become our backer piece. And I'm going to use that piece that fits inside of our frame to use it as a template for our 4th piece of foam. And then we're going to cut that foam out. So with this one, I found the center of my oval piece of foam, and I'm going to draw a straight as humanly possible line there. Then I'm going to go up about 1.25 inches and just try to divide this piece of foam evenly into 6 pieces. And then I'm going to cut those pieces out, or mark them first so I know where they go. And then I'm going to cut these out and set them to the side. Here is that green fabric we have been using. I'm going to cut a chunk off of it. I have been using this fabric up. I'm trying to get it used. I've been slightly obsessed with it. It's gorgeous to me. I thrifted it from Salvation Army, a lot of yards for $3.99. It was a good deal. We're doing the same thing as we did in the last failed attempt. We're just cutting off enough fabric to cover these on the front and sides. And now I have cut a second piece of backer board to thicken this piece up some so I can use the staples, because the staples worked well in the last attempt. So I'm just going to hot glue those two pieces together to thicken them up, and then we're going to start with our number one piece of foam. So I'm just getting that first piece aligned. You really have to feel around here and make sure it's at the top and aligned on all sides with that backer board. The staples were just a hair too long, so I'm having to hammer those back in on the back side. I'm adding a little hot glue on this one as well, but we're just going to do pretty much the same process, wrapping the stapled fabric around the foam and then stapling the fabric to the backer board. This time I did add a little bit of hot glue in between each section, and we're going to go all the way down until we get this piece covered up. With this bottom piece, there's nothing to staple to, so I'm wrapping it around the back side. The back side of this piece is going to look really, really rough, but we just got to kind of trust the process here. And now we're now we're working on the frame. I had a chunk missing when I thrifted this, so I just kind of try to disguise that by adding some rub and buff to that section, and it looks a lot better. So now here, that is our tool that we needed. That is why we needed a wood frame, because we're going to be shooting these dart things that you use for framing into the side of our wooden frame to secure our foam covered back panel. Now, it took a lot of these to secure it, but it's secured by the time I get done. I'm going to use my hot glue gun to glue all the fabric down to try to make it as flat as possible. I was scared to cut off the excess fabric because the front has a lot of pressure on it and I didn't want it to pull out. So I think doing it this way was perfectly fine. I went every half inch probably with those darts, and here is how we're looking. That piece kind of messed up, but I was not doing this a fifth time, y'all. So here I have a piece of cardboard, just something in my stash. I'm going to trace around the back of my frame and cut this to fit, and we're going to hide that ugly back with this piece of cardboard. I'm going to use staples here, making sure I'm using good force to make sure it goes through everything into the wood of the wooden frame. And here is our finished project. I did add a hanger to the back of this. Y'all, I'm obsessed. So much work and failed attempts, but it was successful in the end. This is a reminder to y'all to never give up on your projects. I love how it came out. I might end up keeping this for myself, but if I don't, I'm thinking about pricing it for maybe $37 to $40. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I hope you enjoyed today's projects. Y'all let me know which one is your favorite down in the comments. And y'all let me know what y'all's opinion about that third project. Man, it gave me a hard time. I'm trying to tell you, I was just determined, y'all. But I wanted to hop up here for just a second and let you know that a membership only video is about to come out for channel members. If you want to become a channel member, the link is down in my description box. There's two options there: rescued and restored. Rescued is the $3.99 a month. It's just like giving me a tip. You get member shout outs, special emojis beside your name when you comment. And the restored membership is the one I'm really proud of, and that is $9.99 a month. Sorry, Roscoe's shaking his ears. And that one comes with the membership only video, weekly sales report being sent right to your email address so you can see what sells in my local antique mall, resale mall weekly. You also get a free shipping code to my website, and we have drawings once a month for 2 to 3 people for me to pick and send freebies to. Freebies could mean a transfer packet, an extra IOD stamp I have, some milk paint samples, decoupage paper. Really, it could mean anything. If that sounds like something you're interested in, y'all go check the description box and you will see want to become a channel member, and just click that link and it will direct you right over there. Either way, I appreciate y'all being here today, and I'll talk to y'all in the comments. Bye.